I swear.
That's alright. Take your time on it.
No. Once I get into it, it'll be great. But the beginning, these parts, this is the intro parts. I hate doing intros for videos, I swear. Ah, I gotta post it. I'm gonna post one of my old Boss Gaming Network videos on Facebook. I swear I am. Okay, all right, let's go. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your guy. Oh, I gotta do it over. Hold up. I gotta do it over. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your guy. No, people. Okay, I gotta say people. Hold on. Hey, what's up, people? It's your guy, Dynamix, and I'm here with another one, Boss Reactions. Okay, so I got some good ones here for you today. I got some pretty good ones. I looked up some Nuke Top 5, and I got some Mr. Ballin today. And basically, we are going to do some reacting to these videos and see how they actually look. Yes, I got the Boss Reaction hat on. Sorry, I had to throw it on like that. I had to bring it on at the last second. But we good. We about to get this started, okay? So, let's start with Nuke Top 5. Also anything dealing with merch, go to the, the YouTube channel, go to the About section, Boss Reactions, and you can contact me, ask for any customized gear, merchandise, merch, whatever the case may be. We are making a lot of different things. So we were thinking about making chains, getting boss chains. Really nice to have those small chains. Of course, the hats. We got the t-shirts and such like that. And I might also be doing gloves. I'm thinking about bringing maybe some boss gloves for the merchandise. I might do that. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I have a bunch of pair. I'm a huge fan of like biker gloves. I love biker gloves. So, yeah. um, all right. So, if you want to definitely subscribe to the channel. Um, uh, like the videos. If you want to do Cash App or anything like that, definitely sub to me. You can also Cash App me, help the channel grow, Like I said, my boy Son Goku right here. Yeah, he's still fighting Frieza. Yeah, he's still trying to defeat Frieza. Yes. Okay, so anyway, all the videos will have a link in the description below. If you look below this video, you'll see that in the info section and such and so forth. But yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and get into the first one. Okay, let's see what we have. The first one will be a Nuke Top 5 video, and it is called 5 Ghosts videos so scary you'll cry into your stinky pillow. Well, that was an interesting title. Okay, Nuke. All right, Nukes. Right. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to do that one first, and we go from there. Okay.
Top 5 ghosts caught on camera. Really haunted. Lee from the YouTube channel Really Haunted lives in a house in England that seems to be a hotspot of paranormal activity. Lee has become somewhat of a regular featured channel on my top 5s as the activity in his home just seems to get more and more violent. Now, if you want to see what I'm talking about, I highly recommend that you check out Lee's channel where he shares all the evidence that he's captured over the last 2 years. So, in a shocking new video that Lee has uploaded, the paranormal entity that terrorizes his family is captured once again. Lee and his wife Stacy are fast asleep in bed, and then this happens.
Now I've seen these guys before. Lee uploads videos all the time. He claims that there is a paranormal entity in his home. For some reason, it always attacks his wife. But this is new footage, so let's check it out. What is that? Oh, a shadow. Wow. Wow.
Why?
What's up?
My back.
Okay, so supposedly this ghost pulled Stacy out of the bed. Okay.
Lee's wife Stacy is fast asleep when a dark shadow-like figure slowly seems to move over to her bedside. Then without warning, Stacy is pulled violently out of bed, injuring her back. Lee says that the event has left them absolutely terrified. Stacy left the house that night to sleep in a caravan outside in their yard, too scared to go back inside the house. The couple says that they have no idea what to do about the violent paranormal activity, and that they have tried everything they can think of to get rid of the dark entity that seems to inhabit their home.
I mean, you got it for a second. If you just look at this, it's like that has to be a really strong like entity. Like the fact that it can grab, hold on, pull like the entire body weight of that woman. Like that's insane.
Be sure to follow Lee's encounters with the paranormal over on his YouTube channel, Really Haunted. The Eternal Playhouse. Popular paranormal investigator Alberto Del Arco joins psychic medium Luisa Cardenas as they explore a country home in Mexico that is said to be extremely haunted. Even though the house is vacant, locals report seeing strange shadows in the windows. Visitors and guests at the home claim to have seen the spirit of a young girl wandering the property, a girl who tragically drowned in the home's swimming pool. So the team enters the house, and almost immediately they experience something chilling.
Ok, subimos.
Mira.
¿Qué fue eso, Luisa? No sé, creo que lo vimos todos. Lo tienen todos en su... Estaba allá, güey, salió de allá.
Esa sí fue la niña, está como jugando.
Salió de aquí, güey. Aquí estaba. Ay, güey.
¿Oíste?
Sí.
Okay, so they heard a voice say "Ven aquí," and oh, "Ven aquí, ven aquí." I'm not going to call it fakery just yet. Let's watch. Let's watch.
Yo entendí como ven aquí.
Y como un balbuceo de una niña, un niño, alguien pequeño, pero esa bici estaba aquí, salió de aquí, claramente, la vimos todos, cómo se movió.
Se movió.
A small child's bike moves on its own, shocking the paranormal investigators.
Oh.
Then a creepy, quiet voice can be heard saying in Spanish, "Come here."
Okay, wait. Okay, so the bike, I don't see how the string could have pulled the bike because there was like a whole dresser in front of it. So I don't know. That looked legit. That looked real. Maybe maybe it was a ghost child. I don't know. We'll see.
Now already a little creeped out, Alberto and Luisa continue their investigation and head outside to the pool where the young girl is said to have drowned.
Okay, so I guess a young girl died on this property. She drowned in the pool, and supposedly her ghost is haunting this house or whatever. Yeah.
La siento aquí, Alberto.
Estoy oyendo ruidos por allá.
Oigo como risas.
Ajá, yo también como una especie de risa. Huele feo, ¿no?
Sí.
Ay, 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 ay. Vi correr algo. Ay, 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 ay. Vi correr algo. ¿La tienes? ¿No la tendrás, Tony? ¿Crees que en tu cámara la tengan? Vi algo rápido corrió como para allá. A ver, vamos para allá.
Alberto and Luisa hear the sound of a child giggling. And then Alberto sees a white figure.
I mean, he's saying, let's hurry, let's go. Let's go and go see where she went. Let's go find the ghost girl. That could have been fakery. I mean, I don't know. It didn't look like a ghost. I think it looked more like a person, maybe like a teenage girl running behind an object and then going into the trees. Let's see. Okay.
Running in the darkness near the pool. Now Alberto seems to be becoming more and more unsettled with each creepy encounter. And when the group continues exploring the
that looked like a person. That didn't look like a ghost. It looked like it looked like a young woman, but I mean, no, I don't know. I'm thinking fakery.
Property, it becomes clear just how on edge the paranormal investigator really is.
Es como si ya se empezaron a alborotar. Hoy está llorando.
Crying, really?
¿Qué fue eso, güey?
Una hoja.
¿Sí? Yo vi algo negro. Vi como algo negro que pasó aquí al lado.
Yo vi que algo iba cayendo hacia ti, pero no. Creí que era una hoja.
Atrás. Atrás.
Otra vez fue la caballeriza, creo.
¡Ay, qué susto me llevé! Yo lo escuché algo allá. Ah, sí.
I don't know.
La escalera, sí.
I don't know.
Estaba bien puesta la escalera.
The team hears the unsettling sound of a child crying, and Alberto's anxiety seems to reach its limit as a leaf simply falls near his head and gives him quite a scare. Then a ladder just seems to fall over on its own. The group heads further into the backyard of the creepy country home. What happens next is truly chilling.
Mira, eso debió de haber sido como un riachuelito que hicieron,
Sí.
¿verdad?
Atrás. Por acá,
Pareciera
¿verdad?
como alguien dentro, ¿verdad?
Sí. Escucha algo allá adentro. ¿Está? Ay, güey. A ver,
¿Viste?
Sí,
Oh.
vi algo,
Pareciera que alguien
algo.
se asomó,
Vi algo.
¿verdad?
No, there was something. I saw something in the child playhouse. There was something that moved in the window of that child playhouse.
Ay, güey. A ver,
¿Viste?
Corre.
Oh, you saw?
Aquí, güey.
Holy crap. What was that?
Aquí se asomó, ¿no? Se me hizo ver,
Sí.
te lo juro que se me hizo ver una niña que se asomó. Hasta le alcancé a ver como cabello.
Oh, that's creepy.
Podría ser su lugar favorito, porque mira, hay juguetes como para una niña pequeña. Hay un espejo, un tocadorcito, hay como una carriolita chiquita. Podría ser uno de sus lugares favoritos, pero se vio clarísima.
Sí, pudo seguir jugando. Como ella no es consciente de que falleció, pues para ella todo es juego.
Cuando dijiste todo es juego,
Se escuchó la risa.
sonrió.
Okay, just like sound like a kid laughed. I mean, I don't know. That may be fakery, the whole laugh. I mean, let's see.
What looks to be the small head of a child can be seen inside the children's playhouse and quickly moving away from the window. The team rushes over to investigate, but they find no one and nothing to explain what they just captured.
Wait, okay, so hold on. They kind of like cut away for a second. When they saw the face in the playhouse, they turned. That kind of gives me possibly fakery. I don't know. I mean, if you're going to see a face pop in the window of a playhouse, I mean, you should probably keep the camera on the playhouse. It shouldn't move away. I don't know. We'll see.
So, did paranormal investigator Alberto capture the playful spirit of the little girl who lost her life at the home? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide.
I don't think that.
You can watch this entire investigation and many more creepy videos over on the YouTube channel, Alberto Del Arco. Before we move on to the next video, if you see anything that you think should be included in the top 5, contact us at nukestop5@gmail.com. Weird World.
I don't think it was real. I think that was fakery. Yes, I think it was fakery. They were definitely in the bakery, whipping up the fakery, mix it up, cook it up. They can stay away from me. Yeah, they fake. Let's go.
A segment where all the very strange videos go. In this first very weird video, TikTok user Maggie is recording a short video of a white bunny that's hopping around the streets of La Tabida, Colombia. However, Maggie is completely unaware that she captured something a lot more interesting. Something downright creepy.
Okay. Whoa! What is that?
A bizarre disembodied pair of legs can be seen running down the side of the street. Maggie claims that she was completely unaware of the creepy apparition and has no explanation of what she could have recorded. So is it CGI? A camera glitch?
I don't know. That's crazy. That look. I don't know. It doesn't look like CGI. That looks legit. That looks like some real legs running right there. Holy crap!
Or haunted pants?
Look at that. That looks like real legs. Oh no, that's weird. Okay.
You decide.
I-
This next video is part of what might be the weirdest ongoing video series currently on YouTube. A man named Erwin Saunders claims that for the last 25 years he's been searching for rare, mystical beings like fairies and pixies in the forests of the United Kingdom. Even weirder,
What?
he says he's found them. In a video uploaded on September 30th, 2017, Erwin Saunders finally catches on camera what he describes as a, quote, fairy.
So this is a good spot. We're further down. It's a little bit damper, unfortunately.
Wait, this man literally claimed that he has found fairies. And guess what? Now you want to start talking about elves? You found elves as well? You know, ogres, orcs. And, really, bro? You spend the time traveling the forest. You travel the forest looking for mythical creatures or beings. Okay, let's see.
Fortunately, I'm getting a bit of a wet bottom, but it's worth it because this is a good, comfortable, apart from that, comfortable place to sit. And you can be seen all around, so I can see sort of get a good view, but they can spot me. And if I stay here rather calmly for a while, I'm hoping that they'll come along and see what I'm up to. It's a couple of hours now I've been here. That's quite usual. I mean, I'm not discouraged by the fact
He's been sitting there a couple of hours. Okay.
this is taking a long time. I'm just slightly feel a bit more under pressure than usual because I'm filming it, but it always takes a while. I just saw one just down there. It's very tempting to follow him, but that wouldn't do any good because he's a scout and he wouldn't lead me back to camp. If I chased him, he'd just disappear down a crack and I wouldn't see him for the rest of the day.
Okay.
And he'd alert everybody else to stay underground. So,
Okay.
but he was just down. It's going to take me a moment just to focus in. He went down there.
So the fairy you saw for a second went down into that crevice where the rocks were in the brush. All right, let's see.
Just keep watching up behind me on that ledge.
Behind you. Okay.
He was just there. Ah, you see? That was a quick glimpse there.
No, I don't see anything, actually.
Okay. He's not there.
Yeah, he's not there.
Oh, sorry about that. He was doing. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's. There.
Wait, what?
Ah, well, at least we've got a shot of one.
After a lot of
Wait, that looked like CGI. I'm sorry, it looked like CGI. It looked fake. It looked like 3D graphics. He might be a chef. I think he's a chef. Yeah. Oh, come on.
patience and waiting, Erwin finally captures what he claims is a fairy creature up on a ledge in the middle of the woods.
That looks CGI.
Now, to add to the mystery of this strange channel, Erwin Saunders completely disappeared from his channel back in 2019. Then, after a 2-year absence, Saunders just suddenly started posting on his channel again earlier this year. Now, some people believe Erwin's videos are real, and some believe they are fake. And then there are some who just don't care either way, because they say that they thoroughly enjoy Erwin's whimsical fairy hunts. His YouTube comment section is full of loyal viewers that appreciate the magical journey that Erwin takes them on in his oddly soothing and relaxing videos. Certainly not saying that fairies and pixies are real, but check out even more of his strange videos and decide for yourself over on the YouTube channel, Erwin Saunders. This next weird video is another very mysterious one.
Fakery. I'm sorry, Mr. Saunders. Your video about fairies, whatever the heck that thing was, you showed behind you, looking and well, it looked like it was CGI. Okay, it looked CGI. Maybe it was like a young child that was captured on camera, and then like an overlay was made to where CGI was put on top of the child to make it look like it was moving, looking around, trying to see, like, and then it went back into its cave or whatever opening there in the rock formation. I'm calling fakery. Fakery in the bakery. Okay.
I have no idea what the source is or where the video was recorded, but I've been told that it was filmed during a curfew because of the current world health crisis.
पूरा खाली पड़ा है, दुकानें बंद है, व्यापार ठप है, सड़क थम सी गई है, पूरा मार्केट बंद.
Did you see it? Whoever is recording is completely unaware of a lone scooter driving by. A scooter completely without a...
Wait, that thing don't have no wheels. Does it have wheels? Oh, no, it does have wheels. Okay.
driver. It appears to be cruising along entirely on its own. So just where is the driver? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. The lonely spirit of the school.
I don't know. It was kind of weird. I don't know. I mean, scooter, no driver. I don't know. I'm not going to call that anything.
Popular Chinese ghost hunter Xiaolong is back with another adventure
Are we back with Xiaolong? Okay, if you don't know,
to an abandoned element.
Xiaolong's a Chinese YouTuber. I did a video on him before. Him and his friend went into a factory where supposedly a construction worker lost his life, and the construction worker was haunting them as they were doing their ghost hunt. You know, so here he is again. Let's see what he's doing now.
Elementary school in Liaoyang City, China.
Okay, so they're doing a ghost hunt in an elementary school. Well, a closed elementary school in China, abandoned. And supposedly he only does ghost hunts, so supposedly there's ghosts there. We're going to see.
The old school has a very tragic past, and locals avoid the school at all costs. It is said that long ago, a young female student at the very strict school accidentally dropped her teacher's water cup. For this simple mistake, the cruel teacher severely and cruelly punished the girl, leaving her physically injured and humiliated.
Wow.
The young girl fell into a deep depression, and using pesticides she found in her home, she took her own life. After the horrible incident, other children at the school began to claim to see the apparition of a young girl aimlessly wandering the school hallways. As word of this frightening supernatural activity started to spread amongst the superstitious local parents, they began to take their children out of the school immediately. In the end, the elementary school was left completely abandoned and avoided by locals who believed the property to be the home of the little girl's angry, vengeful spirit. Xiaolong is joined by his friends Xiao Xin and Lao Dai on another live broadcast as they head out to investigate the creepy claims surrounding the abandoned school.
Wait, I don't see his boy. See, the last video I did of Xiaolong, he had his boy in the factory. His boy fell through a hole. They were running away from a supposed ghost, and his boy fell through a hole. And Xiaolong had to like pick him up out of the hole. It was hilarious. I was like, yeah, we're not going on a ghost hunt no more. We done. I'm taking my other friends. Okay, I'm taking my other friends on the next ghost hunt. Yeah, it's funny.
When exploring the property, the three friends quickly find themselves face to face with something. It's kind of terrifying.
Well, hold on. It looked like his friend was there. I don't know. That might have been the guy from the previous video. Maybe.
啥玩意儿了？看着啥了？看我妈的有个街霸，真的。正经的，正经的。还他妈尸体呢！兄弟们，好像看着尸体了。哎呦我操你妈
喂，
实验室。哎呦我操，太吓人了！这他妈学校还整这玩意儿了？嗯，那他妈就腰着。哎呦我操，这玩意儿谁做的？这真吓人呢！这不给幼儿园小孩都吓哭了啊！他妈那啥，现在超人，
奥特曼，
瞅着，那眼睛还红色的。奥特曼，这奥特曼没变身的时候，我跟你说，这老师给隔壁讲课，隔壁小孩全哭了。
It looks like Ultraman.
是吗？石灰。是动喽，是错了不？我垃圾场啊！来这睡吧。
Yeah, let's kick it. Let's kick the mannequin.
太给我龙哥，到啥时候我都佩服龙哥，就这一点。吓他妈逼次。
Xiaolong and his friends discover a creepy medical mannequin sitting in what they believe used to be a science classroom. They joke around and kick the mannequin before leaving to explore the rest of the abandoned building.
我的妈呀，小刚！
A piano? It's a piano.
啊！这他妈这钢琴坏了，这都摁不下去了。我操！
Oh, what happened?
我他妈想起来一个地方，咋呀？蘑菇头。
I didn't see anything.
Now, I should mention here that when one of Xiaolong's friends begins to talk about a place called, quote, Mushroom Head, I was completely confused, and I thought my Chinese translator had maybe just lost his mind. So I messaged Xiaolong about it, and apparently it's a nickname the friends have given to a particular spirit that I've featured on this channel before. And that is the spirit of Bai Shuiting, a female ghost who is said to love playing the piano and who Xiaolong encountered in a past video.
Mushroom head?
Xiaolong says that they call the spirit
That gotta be
Mushroom
Xiaolong's
Head
friend.
as a
That's gotta be Xiaolong's friend. my man screamed like he let you know he's screaming. Like, let's go.
joke because of her mushroom-like hairstyle. But let's get back to the creepy video.
Okay, so there's a myth about a girl called Mushroom Head in this abandoned school because her hairstyle was similar to a mushroom, and supposedly she still haunts the school. So they're trying to make contact with Mushroom Head, and that's why Xiaolong's friend was screaming. Yeah, okay.
我他妈想起来一个地方，咋呀？蘑菇头。你把给孩子招来，就是。
It's broken. The piano is broken.
招啥仙儿啊？主要是，啊对，招蘑菇头呗。这蘑菇头。
Oh, mushroom head. Yeah.
你们跟魔头没有什么关系。今天我要再次请魔头上仙来到这里。
Did you see it? As Xiaolong is talking about summoning the quote mushroom head ghost, someone or something can be seen quickly peeking out from outside the window.
Oh, what is that?
The guys decide to set up a static camera to record the piano in hopes of summoning any kind of paranormal activity. While Xiaolong is away to get equipment, Xiaoxin and Lao Dai are left alone inside the creepy piano room.
What is that?
And things take a very goofy turn.
What? Let's pull the chair away.
Now, all jokes aside,
hey, that wasn't
Xiaolong
fakery
returns
right
and
there.
the
That
three
was real.
friends eventually leave the building to take a break in the car and talk to the live stream audience. They leave their static camera running as they leave.
Oh, man.
Now again, all of this was recorded and broadcast live. And what their live static camera catches is truly terrifying.
Okay, this is after they left the room? Okay. Something moved. Something moved over there. Oh, the mannequin. The mannequin moved a little bit. What the heck? What's going on? Whoa. Okay, a light just fell and broke. Oh, there's a face. There's a face in the window. What is that? I can't tell what is that a face? Oh wow, look at that. Ah, see that? It's pretty crazy right there. Mushroom head? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
The creepy head of the medical mannequin moves on its own. Then a light bulb suddenly falls from the ceiling. But most terrifying of all, the face of a child can be seen looking through the school window. Meanwhile, outside in the car, Xiaolong and his friends are sent screenshots of the creepy activity that is captured on their live broadcast. They decide to gather their equipment and just get out of there. So did Xiaolong, Xiaoxin, and Lao Dai capture the ghost of the young child that is said to haunt the school? As always, I leave it to you to decide.
I mean, that looked real to me. I don't know. I always try and call fakery if I think it could be possible that it's fake, but that actually looked real. I really think that looked real. That was a good one. Anyway, we'll go.
You can watch many creepy highlights of Xiaolong's live investigations over on his own YouTube channel, Outdoor Xiaolong. The Cobb Mansion. Ghost hunters and friends Ryan, River, Nick, and Wyatt from the YouTube channel Twin Paranormal travel to the allegedly haunted Cobb Mansion in Virginia City, Nevada. Cobb Mansion was built...
Wait, there's a Virginia City, Nevada? Okay.
In 1876, after a devastating fire consumed most of the town of Virginia City. Over the next 145 years, the Grand Mansion was the home of several different families. Then, in 2004, the historic Cobb Mansion was renovated into an old-fashioned bed and breakfast. But ever since the mansion has been open to visitors, many guests have reported strange, unexplained paranormal activity. Some visitors claim to have heard strange noises and the sound of music playing. Even creepier, there have been reports of ghostly apparitions being spotted in almost every single room of the mansion. Twin Paranormal was invited to Cobb Mansion by its current owner, Connie Carlson, to do an overnight investigation into the unexplained reports of alleged haunting. The team is on the second floor of the mansion when they begin to ask questions to whatever spiritual presence might be there. And things take a turn toward the bizarre.
If there's anybody here, we'd like to know your story.
Now, I've seen these ghost hunters before, especially the guy right here with the tattoo on his face. They normally only investigate like real, like what's believed to be real hauntings. They go to real places where they think ghosts really exist, and they use EMF readers. They use the Ouija boards and such like that. They use everything to try and contact, entities from other dimensions, whatever. I've never seen them do anything that wasn't fake, I should say. So I don't know. Let's see how this one goes. Yeah, these guys are. I think they're legit for the most part.
Why you are still in the Cobb Mansion?
Whoa. Is that out there?
That was loud. Yes. Is that in the bathroom or out there?
Sounded like it was real close, like right here.
What was it? You didn't hear? It was like it sounded like as if you were to step on the wood.
Yeah, like creaking.
Yeah.
I might have. To be honest,
Was it? You know those like kind of creak steps ish.
Oh, okay.
Not full like creaking. Up. There's another floor.
Yeah, the upstairs.
That could have been exactly where it was, dude.
Okay, so on the EMF reader, the ghost said up. So they said it's another floor. So maybe an attic. I don't know. Let's see.
Holy! Oh my gosh! Did you? Holy! You heard that too? Did you not? Where was that?
That sounded like someone just did a backflip.
I didn't hear any of that. You did not? That was so loud.
I vaguely did. I wasn't sure. Dude, that like actually scared me. That was so loud.
That's crazy. In what direction did you hear that? Upstairs? You guys want to go upstairs?
I don't know. It was definitely. This place is so big, it's gonna be hard to tell. But that right when you started talking and reacting to the first one, it literally sounded like a 300-pound man just jumped as high as he could.
The four guys hear the nearby sound of something creaking, and then are startled by the much louder sound of a door on the first floor slamming shut. They have no idea where the sound is coming from, but their static camera captures it all. The team heads down to investigate the first floor. They decide to turn on a very old music box, and they immediately seem to get some very direct responses on their Spirit Box app.
Why don't you turn on the
Music box.
music box?
Oh, that's gonna creep me out.
It says do it.
No.
It legit just do it. Oh my god.
Are you?
Okay. So they asked the ghost to turn the music on a music box in this old mansion, and and the EMF reader picked up a voice that said, "Do it." So the ghost is asking them, "Turn on the music." Okay, let's go.
Are you kidding me?
It just said 2 words. Do it.
See the handle on the left? Pull it up a little bit.
Wow.
Handle on the left, inside.
Yeah, pull it up and then put it back down. Us. It just said us.
It just said us.
Anything to do with that music box. You just did that when I pulled it. I'll sit right back here. Not in there.
Huh? Wow.
Party.
Okay, so the ghost is like, "Hey, let's party." Like, turn the music. You want to turn the music box on? Music box on? Yes. Us party. Really? This is a fun ghost. We want ghosts more like Casper. Yes.
Party.
Now, it's much later into the investigation, and the Twin Paranormal team again hears the music box. But this time, they are nowhere near it.
The music box. I hear it. The music box. The music box. Was that you that just played the music? Oh my god, that scared me. That was the music box? You think so? 100%.
The paranormal investigators are all on the second floor when they can hear the music box playing completely on its own on the first floor. Now, since the music box isn't electric, it has to be manually cranked. So they have no explanation as to how it could be playing without someone starting it. Next, Twin Paranormal heads up to the third and top floor of the Cobb Mansion. And what happens next is downright creepy.
Wait, what is that? That's the TV.
What the? Wait. Yo, the TV just turned on by itself.
Where? Wait. No way.
Oh wow. Okay.
Wow. That's never happened to us.
Is that the remote? Where were you guys the whole time?
We left. We went to the right there. Yeah, because we heard knocking again on the door. And then I heard that. I thought you played like a video or something. Did you turn the TV on? Can you turn it off?
Wait, is that the remote? Can you try it? It has to be. There's nothing else, right?
Yep, that's it. This never happened.
Those are footsteps.
Yeah. Wow.
Really? Footsteps, it said. It said footsteps. I don't know. I mean, there's an apparition right there. Okay. It does look like an apparition is right there.
A TV in one of the rooms turns on by itself, and when they turn it off, they hear footsteps coming from somewhere inside the mansion. At that exact same moment, downstairs, their static camera is capturing what appears to be a white, translucent figure. It seems to manifest out of thin air and walk slowly from one room to the next. So is Cobb Mansion truly haunted by a paranormal presence? Let me know what you think. You can watch this full 2-part series at the mysterious Cobb Mansion over on the YouTube channel, Twin Paranormal.
I don't know.
Thanks so much for watching. Please follow me on Instagram and on Twitter and on Tickety Bibbity. See you next week.
Tickety Bibbity? Really? You just say TikTok. You know, TikTok sucks anyway. I mean, I'm not a fan of TikTok. Alright, so that was Noob Top 5. That was pretty good. I mean, he brought the real like he normally does. I mean, he does pretty good whenever he does his YouTube videos. Paranormal and unexplained and mystery. Okay. It's still early in tonight, so I'm thinking I want to bring you guys something else. Let me go ahead and let me see if I can find something else for you. All right, let's see. You know who we haven't watched in a while? We haven't watched Mr. Ballin. So you know who Mr. Ballin is? He's the guy. He's prior military. He served in the Navy SEALs. He got out the military and he currently is a full-time YouTuber, and he tells stories about real events, missing persons in national parks, and just overall real stories. So he's probably one of the most legit YouTubers you'll see in today's YouTube. So I got something from him. Top 3 scariest true stories. Okay, so he has 3 true stories. Part 2. Okay, so this is his part 2. So he has a part 1. I don't have a part 1. I'll get the part 1 next time. But this is part 2. So let's watch it. We'll get this one. Okay. All right. Let's do it.
Today, I'm going to share 3 stories that scared me. But before we get into those stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel, because that's all we do, and we upload 3 or 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please kidnap the like button, tie them up, and then forcibly brush their teeth, and then make them drink orange juice afterwards. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Alright, let's get into today's stories.
Let's go. Mr. Ballin. Good ones. We're going to get some good ones today. Let's see. Scratch.
In 2010, Kayla was a senior at the University of California, Santa Barbara, a big party school. And one Friday evening, Kayla and her friends were at a big party, and Kayla was having a great time, but she was starting to feel really tired. And so she asked her friends if maybe they wanted to leave early, but none of them did. And so Kayla left on her own. Luckily, her house was just down the road, and so she was at her front door in a matter of minutes. That night, her two roommates, who were also college seniors, had decided to stay in and just have a nice night with a couple of friends having some wine. And so when Kayla walked inside, she happened to turn to the right, and she looked on the closest wall where there was a sofa, and she saw there was a guy laying there with a blanket up to his chin, and his eyes were wide open. She didn't recognize him, but he was staring at her, and she figured, oh, he must be a friend of her roommate's. But as she walked across the room, she kind of glanced back at him, and he had pulled the covers down slightly, and he had lifted his head up, and he was staring at her kind of menacingly. And so Kayla got a really bad vibe from this guy, and just kind of hustled into her room, shut the door behind her, and locked it, something she never did. And a few minutes later, she was in her bed, and she was passed out. A couple of hours later, she woke up to what sounded like tapping on wood. And so she sat up in her bed and she's kind of looking around. She had a couple drinks the night before and she's half asleep, so she's a bit disoriented. But finally, when she gets her bearings, she realizes this tapping sound is the sound of someone drumming their fingers on the outside of her door. And so she's looking at her door, wondering who would be doing that. And then all of a sudden, the drumming stops, and it's replaced by the sound of this person scratching on the outside of the door. And so now Kayla's thinking, okay, is this guy who was out on that couch, is he playing a joke on me? And so she's sitting there wondering if she should just go over there and open the door and tell him to stop. But before she gets out of her bed, the scratching gets louder and louder and louder until it's so loud that it's kind of menacing. And so Kayla decides she's not going to go out there. And so instead, she pulls out her phone and she texts her roommate and says, hey, can you please come out in the living room and take care of your friend who's harassing me? But she doesn't get a response from that roommate, and the scratching is just still loud as ever. And so she texts her other roommate the same message, come out and take care of your buddy here. But again, she doesn't get a response. And now the scratching on the door has stopped, and it's been replaced by jiggling of her doorknob. And so now Kayla is just mad, because this is obviously a prank, and it's a dumb prank. And so she yells out, hey, stop! But it doesn't do anything. And so now Kayla's like, okay, I gotta call my roommates, wake them up, they'll come out and they'll handle it. And so she calls one of her roommates, and they do pick up this time. And Kayla angrily tells them, hey, come out into the living room and tell your friend to knock it off. He's totally harassing me. And her roommate was confused. She's trying to make sense of what Kayla's saying, and she says, Kayla, what are you talking about? What friend are you talking about? And Kayla says, the guy sleeping on the couch. The guy in our living room sleeping on the couch. And her roommate said, Kayla, we didn't have anybody over last night.
Yo, that's crazy. Can you imagine that? Like, yo, why should this thing call 911? Like, as soon as you heard, like, all the scratching and stuff like that. Whatever. Okay.
Somebody out there? You need to call the police. Kayla's adrenaline surged, and she very calmly told her roommate, lock your door immediately. And right then she noticed the jiggling of her doorknob and the scratching, and it all stopped. And Kayla's wondering, where did this guy go? And then after a couple of seconds, she heard extremely loud banging coming from across the house where her two roommates shared a room. And it was the sound of this guy trying to smash down their door. And so Kayla's screaming, her roommates are screaming. Kayla manages to dial up 911, and before long there are sirens outside, and Kayla hears the sound of this guy run across the house, and she hears the sliding door open and shut. Police come inside, they search the property, and there's no sign of this guy, and so Kayla and the roommates come outside. They talk to the police, and the police bring them over to their side door, and they show them on the outside there was all sorts of scratch marks all over the doorknob and right around the latch. And they said it looks like he was able to jimmy his way into your house through this door. And so then they asked the girls to give their statement about what happened, and they started with Kayla. They went over to her bedroom door so she could demonstrate what happened, and that's when they noticed there were all these scratch marks and gouge marks all over the outside of her bedroom door, and all over the doorknob, and all over the latch. And on the ground was a pair of scissors and a knife. And the police told Kayla that it looks like he used those scissors and that knife to open up the side door, and he was trying to use those tools again to open up her door, but for whatever reason, he just couldn't do it. They told Kayla that most likely when she went in the front door, she caught this guy off guard. Maybe he was trying to rob the place, maybe he had just broken in, but either way, Kayla got in and ruined his plans. And so he leapt onto that sofa, the one against that inner wall, to kind of of tuck himself away in hopes that maybe Kayla wouldn't look over and see him. And they told her that most likely when she made eye contact with him, she became a witness and therefore a target of opportunity. And had she not locked her door, who knows what would have happened.
Whoa. Yo, that's crazy right there. Random dude just comes in your house trying to figure out what he's going to rob, steal, hurt, whoever he's going to do, whatever he's going to do. And it's like, you would just walk in and just catch him in the middle of like surveying the area. And he's just like, jumps on the couch and covers himself up. You walk past, he just like watches you like, like, oh God, you see me? And then it's like, you just don't even care because you think it's one of your roommate's friends. That's insane. Firearms. That's why Americans carry firearms.
In 2004, 16-year-old Misty Tasker was a typical American teenager living in Live Oak, Florida, which is a small rural town right in the middle of the state. One Saturday evening in January, she and her mother attended a church service. Afterwards, they hopped in her mother's truck and they got on the country highway and began making their way home. Their house was just 20 minutes down this highway. It was a straight shot. And this highway was pretty desolate. There were no street lights. It was actually a dirt road despite being a highway. And it was just thick forest on both sides of the road the entire way. There were no buildings or houses between the church and their neighborhood. Misty's mother was already a very anxious driver who would keep both hands on the wheel. She would sit up and kind of hunch over the wheel and keep her eyes intently focused on the road, but at night her driving anxiety would shoot through the roof because she had really bad eyesight. And so she would go to great lengths to not drive at night to avoid that high level of anxiety. But the church service they had just come from had run a little bit long, and so now Misty's mother is driving with the sun starting to set, and she's going as fast as she can to try to get home before it gets too dark. And so as they're bombing down this road at about 55 miles an hour, despite it being about a 40-mile-per-hour zone, Misty, who's in the passenger seat, just happens to look over at her mother for no particular reason. And as she's looking at her, she notices out her mother's window, it looks like there's a little girl sitting on the side of the road. What's a child doing out here in the middle of nowhere? She says to her mom, I think I just saw a little girl. And Misty's mother, who's high up on the wheel, she did not hear Misty the first time. She's just focused on driving and trying to get home. And so Misty says again, I think I just saw a little girl. We need to go back. I don't know what she's doing, but I feel like we need to go back and make sure she's okay. And so Misty's mom looks over at her and she's not prepared to turn the car around. That means staying out later, and it means she's going to be driving in even darker conditions. And so she's like, did you really see someone? Because we got to get home. And Misty's like, Mom, I'm pretty sure I saw a little girl. We have to go back. And so finally, Misty's mother, she's very annoyed, but she stops the car, she does a 3-point turn, and she begins driving back up the road where they came from towards this girl. Now, they had only made it about a half mile from where Misty believed she had seen this girl. And so pretty quickly, they slowed down because Misty said, I think she's in this area, and they both began scanning the right side of the road because that's where she's going to be now that they've turned around. Now, it was starting to get very dark outside, but there was enough light, and they had headlights, so they were pretty confident they'd be able to spot this girl. And so as they're slow rolling down the road, they both see this girl a little ways up on the right-hand side. Her back was to the road. She had her knees tucked up to her chest, and she was rocking back and forth. Misty's mother made a comment that it was a little bit surprising that this girl was out here. I mean, there's really nothing around here. There's no houses, there's no buildings, there's no trails to be walking in this forest on either side. It was just kind of thick forest. And so she just thought it was very strange that this girl would even be out here, especially because there's not any traffic on this road. And so Misty's mother began slowly rolling up to her, and she told her daughter that instead of just stopping right away, let's just drive past her and get a look at her, and then we'll turn around and see if she needs any help. And so as they got right up next to her, they realized she was not a little girl. She was a young teenager, but she was not a young child. And as they drove right past her, they would expect her to turn around and acknowledge the car creeping up on her, considering there's no other traffic in the area, and you're just some person sitting on the side of the road. You should definitely turn around and see what's behind you. But the girl did not acknowledge them. She just continued to have her knees up to her chest and rocked back and forth. And so Misty and her mother are a little bit freaked out by this, but they drive past her about 50 meters. Misty's mother does a 3-point turn, and when they're looking back down the road, where the girl should now be on their left-hand side, they're oriented back towards their house now, she wasn't there anymore. But there were no streetlights. It was now almost completely pitch dark outside, and so all they had was the headlights. And so Misty told her mom, drive up a little ways. Maybe the girl stood up and moved, and we just can't see her because she's not in the headlights. And so Misty's mom began driving down the road and kind of turning slightly towards the left to shine the light more to the left, but there was no sign of this girl. For good measure, they turned right slightly to shine the lights more to the right-hand side of the road, but there was no sign of this girl. And so Misty and her mother just slow rolled back down the road, kind of keeping their eye out on both sides. But after traveling for several minutes, going about 5-10 miles an hour, and seeing no sign of this girl, they decided that, well, she must have just gone back into the woods and gone back to wherever it was she came from. And so Misty's mom began picking up speed, and before long they had gone maybe 2 or 3 miles away from where they'd seen this girl, and they were coming up to this 4-way intersection with stop signs all around. And as they were getting close, Misty's mother gasped, because on the other side of the intersection, on the right-hand side, was this girl sitting on the side of the road. She's got her back to the road, her knees are up, and she's rocking back and forth. And so Misty's mother pulls up the stop sign and then just sits there. And both women are just stunned at what they're looking at. They had just seen her 2-3 miles back down the road. It wasn't possible for her to get all the way up here. And so Misty's mother looks at her daughter and says, you know, do you think it's a different girl? And Misty's like,
I don't know. I mean, this seems crazy. Like, I don't think it's like a prank. You know, could you imagine like girls playing a prank? Like, oh, let's rock back and forth on the highway. You stay up 3 miles this way. I'll stay back this way, and we'll rock and act like we're in distress in the whole night. I don't know. I mean, so far it sounds nuts. So let's hit the rest.
no, that's the same girl. And so they just sat there for a minute until Misty started to panic. And she said to her mom, Mom, don't stop. I got a bad feeling about this girl. I don't know what's going on, but you can't stop next to this girl. But Misty's mom, she was definitely weirded out by this situation, no doubt. But she didn't feel good about abandoning this girl in the middle of the night on the side of the highway. And so
And you got to expect that. I mean, like, you got a mature woman. You know, she's a mother. You know, they mature women have a natural sense to, like, you know, help, you know, young people or just children in general. You know, it's like, okay, this young person or this child is in danger. I need to do what I need to do to make sure they are on a safe path. You know, but I don't know, in this situation, I probably would have listened to our daughter Misty and just kept rolling. I don't know.
even though she felt a little bit hesitant herself, she told Misty, you know, we have to at least drive past her and ask if she's okay. That's the least we can do. And Misty was not having it. She said, Mom, do not stop. I got a bad feeling about this. Don't stop near this girl. But Misty's mom let up off the brake and began slow rolling past this intersection. And now at this point, Misty is just absolutely terrified. And so she takes her seatbelt off and she goes down into the footwell right in front of her seat. And she closes her eyes and covers her ears, and she just continues to beg her mother to just please keep going. Don't stop. But her mother just continues on until she stops right next to this girl who's still just sitting on the side of the road with her back to the road. She's got her knees up. She's rocking back and forth. She's not acknowledging Misty or her mother. And so Misty's mother turns to her daughter and says, please roll down your window. And Misty refuses. She's still down in the footwell, still in the fetal position. She's crying, and she's still begging her mother to please just go home. And so Misty's mother, frustrated, reaches across the passenger seat and grabs the knob to roll down the window manually. So she rolls the window down, and Misty, who's down in the footwell, all she remembers is sitting there covering up her ears, and she's crying, and she opens her eyes, and she's looking up towards her mom, who's reaching over the seat, and her mom yells out to this girl. And Misty remembers looking at her mom, who suddenly recoils in horror and screams, and then they take off like crazy, flying down the road. Misty jumps out of the footwell, and she's looking at her mom, and she's like, what's happening? What just happened? What did you see? And her mom's got her hand over her mouth, and she's speeding down the road, and she's crying now, and she's looking at Misty, and she just doesn't have the words to describe what she just saw. And so Misty's asking her mom, what did you see? What happened? And finally, her mother just said, she didn't have a face. She didn't have a face. It was hollow. There was nothing on her face when she looked at me. And so Misty screams, and she's crying, and her mom is crying, and they speed home. They're home just a couple of minutes later, and they run inside, practically falling over each other to get in the house. And as soon as they get inside, Misty's mom calls 911, and she didn't even know how to describe what she just saw. But she knew it was too embarrassing to try to describe it as some girl without a face sitting by the highway. And so she just told the police that they had seen a girl they think needs help. And so the police, they went out and they searched that entire stretch of highway. They looked for any sign of anybody out there, but there wasn't. There was never any trace of that girl.
That was crazy. Yeah, crazy story. Man, that probably scarred like Misty and her mom like for the rest of their life. They're like thinking about this girl now. Like, where's the girl with no face? Oh my god. Like, yeah. Oh boy. Okay. I'm not gonna call it fakery.
In 2016, a 25-year-old Wall Street banker named Matt was camping near Mount Rainier in Washington state. His job was so hectic that in the rare times he got a chance to, he would disappear into the wilderness for a few days to clear his head. Despite living in one of the biggest cities in the world, Matt was actually a very competent outdoorsman, and so for this trip, he decided he would stay way off any trail deep in the backcountry in random locations. On the first night, he found a nice clearing in the trees, and so he set up his campsite there. He ate some food over his fire, he pitched his tent, climbed inside, and within a few minutes, he was fast asleep. Several hours later, Matt woke up to some strange sounds coming from outside of his tent. It sounded like a couple of animals or maybe one animal moving around right outside.
And it's pretty interesting the fact that, Matt, or the stories about Matt, the fact that he lived in New York City and he was like, a working person, that he would take time to go to like the country and like do, hiking, outdoors type of movement, campfires, yeah, so he must have been a very interesting person. But okay, let's go.
And so after a while of just hearing this constant sound, he rolled over and he barely unzipped his tent flap just to look out and see if he could see whatever animal it was. And what he saw shocked him. There was a man sitting in front of his fire pit. There was no fire in his fire pit. And the guy was just sitting there with his hands on his knees, looking straight down. And periodically, he would just kick his feet in the ashes of the fire pit. And Matt didn't even know what to do, so he's just looking at him through this little tiny gap in his tent. And this man all of a sudden looks up directly at Matt and makes eye contact with him. And the guy's eyes go wide, and he stands up, turns around, and runs away from Matt's campsite. Matt has no idea how to react to this, and so he just quickly unzips his tent, jumps outside, and shines his light into the forest looking for this guy. He's thinking to himself, who is this guy? I am in the middle of nowhere in the backcountry of Washington state. How long was he sitting outside there for? What does he want? And so as Matt is trying to make sense of this totally weird thing, he's thinking, okay, I'm going to look out and I'm going to see his flashlight somewhere. Or I'm going to see his campsite. Maybe he's set up nearby. And he's looking around into the total darkness. He's looking through all the trees. Any light source anywhere out there he would see. And there's not one. There's no fire. There's no flashlight. There is nothing. And so eventually Matt goes back inside of his tent, he zips it up, and he's just left kind of dumbfounded. He can't understand how some person was just sitting outside of his tent for no apparent reason and then vanished into the forest without even turning on a flashlight. And so after a very restless night, finally the sun came up again and Matt was very relieved. He stepped outside.
Oh, that night, he said restless night. Bro, I would have been tripping the whole night. I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would literally be up the entire time. See, if you ever go camping or something like that out in the open, bring a firearm. You never know what you're going to come across. You could come across, a crazy buck, maybe a deer. You could come across a bear. You don't know. It could be a person you could come across. If you're going to go camping, have a firearm. Come on.
And after a little bit of time now from this strange incident, Matt started to tell himself that all that was is some guy happened to set up his campsite nearby. It is possible, albeit rare, because we're in the backcountry, and maybe he was just intoxicated and he wandered over here and, stranger things have happened, so that's probably all it was. And so Matt felt like there was nothing to worry about. He packed up his campsite and he began hiking into the forest. Matt didn't have a planned route. Instead, he had a map and a compass, and he began just kind of wandering in the forest, kind of exploring wherever he wanted to go. And over the next 2 days, he covered at least 10, maybe 15 miles in kind of random zigzag directions. He found a nice clearing and he set up another campsite. That night, he set up a fire, and he was eating some food near his fire, and then as he's sitting there, he hears rustling coming from behind him.
Okay, so he traveled about 10, 15 miles over a 2-day period. Wow, this guy really goes in. Okay, All right.
He's pretty sure it's an animal, so he turns around and he doesn't see anything, and he goes back to eating his food, and then a little while later he hears some more rustling behind him, and this time he can't really just write it off. Clearly there is something behind him that's moving around. And so he stood up, turned around, and remained motionless and just listened, expecting to see maybe a deer come out of the woods. But instead, he hears a man's voice come out of the darkness that says,
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
And Matt's heart starts racing. He knows that even though he can't see him, it has to be the same guy he saw 2 days ago. Because they are in the middle of nowhere. He hasn't seen any other hikers or campers or anyone, and clearly this guy has the ability to sneak up on him, and so he's thinking, what does this guy want? I just spent the past 2 days hiking in random directions for 15 miles, and he must have followed me. And so Matt, not knowing what else to do, just says, I don't know where Bell's Canyon is. And then there's silence. And Matt, one part of him is thinking, I hope this guy does not come into the light. I hope he just goes away. The other part of him is thinking, well, maybe this is a different person that is lost. And they're looking for this place called Bell's Canyon. And they'll come into the light. It'll be a big relief. I'll send them on their merry way and everything will be fine. But as Matt is having this wishful thinking, the voice from the shadows does not come any closer, but instead asks the same question, a bit more forcefully this time.
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
This time, Matt did not respond. Now he was scared. This is not some friendly hiker looking for directions. There's something wrong. And so Matt, knowing he's all alone out here, he knew he had to do something to try to take control of this situation. And so he took a deep breath, he reached down and grabbed his flashlight, and in one swift motion, he lifted his light up and shined it in the direction of this guy's voice. And what he saw was this guy from 2 days ago looking out from behind a tree right in Matt's direction. He was hiding from him. And when the light hit him, the man barked at Matt to aim it away. And Matt kind of instinctively lowered his light, but now he was too scared to raise it again, and now he knows it's the same guy. This guy has been following me for 2 days. And so for several minutes, Matt just stood there, absolutely terrified, and this guy, he just stayed out there. Matt didn't hear him move. It was just a complete standstill. And then the silence was broken yet again by this voice, except somehow he had moved even closer to Matt. And when he came through asking the same question,
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
his voice was so close to Matt that Matt got scared and raised his light up, and the man was standing just a few feet away from him.
Oh, no.
This time, the man's eyes got wide like they did the first time they saw Matt, and he turned around and he ran into the forest again. Matt, not knowing any better, just began running after him, but he only ran for about 30 seconds before he realized the terrain out here is so rough. He's gonna fall, get hurt, he's gonna get lost, and this guy's already long gone. He somehow managed to run immediately so far away.
Wait, hold up. So Matt chased the dude. So okay, wait a minute. Put the flashlight in his face. Dude runs. He chases the guy, and I'm guessing Matt was in good physical condition. I mean, the fact that he goes out and he hikes like 10 to 15 miles in the outbacks. It's just kind of like, and you couldn't keep up with this dude, and you had a flashlight. Yeah, it's time for you to get back to New York. Go back to New York. Yeah, it's time to get back to New York, bro. This guy might be thinking about cooking you or something like that. I don't know.
And so Matt just goes back to his campsite, and he's thinking to himself, what do I do? I have no cell phone service. I'm at least 3 days away from my car, and I'm in the middle of nowhere. No one even knows where I am because I didn't chart a course. I didn't tell anyone where I was going to be. And so Matt just grabbed his knife and stood in the middle of the campsite, and for hours and hours he just kept looking around, expecting this guy to just show up again or start speaking to him from somewhere out in the darkness. It was absolutely horrifying. Finally, by about 3 in the morning, Matt was so tired that he had to go to sleep. He hadn't heard this guy again, he didn't see him again, and he figured, I need a little bit of sleep because tomorrow he's going to pack up his campsite and begin this epic journey back to his car. And so he climbed in his tent, and he had a very restless next couple of hours. And then the sun came up, Matt jumped out of his tent, packed up his stuff, and began practically running in the direction of his car. All day, as he was hiking, Matt kept looking over his shoulder, expecting to see this guy, because clearly he had followed him for multiple days, over 15 miles, and so the likelihood that he's still following him was really high. And so all day, Matt just felt like he was being watched, he was totally terrified, and then the sun started to go down, and Matt knew he would have to camp out again. And so he...
Hold on. Okay, hold up. All right, so Matt woke up when the sun rose, right? Okay, so the sun rises, what, 6:30, 7:30 a.m., something like that. Okay. And now the sun is setting again, and you didn't make it back to your car? I mean, supposedly you only traveled like 15 miles, right? So you on foot 15 miles. I mean, if you're running, because he said he was running. Even if you're running, you're walking, slowing down, you're moving with a sense of urgency. Come on, 15 miles is not that hard. I could probably do 15 miles in four hours. I could do it in 4 hours, easy. You know, the most I ever did on foot was 60. I did 60 miles on foot. And it's not really. I mean, as long as you have water, you can definitely hike. You can run. I mean, I just don't see how he's spending multiple days just to cover 15 miles. It's like, bro, you're in good shape. You're in good physical shape. You know where you're going. You have a compass. You can see what direction you're going in. It's like, bro, come on. I don't know. I mean, so it sounds like, I don't know. Let's find out.
Found a clearing in the trees. He set up his campsite, and he was so tired from running basically all day and being so mentally exhausted from this experience.
Wait. Okay, I didn't take into thought that he probably was carrying a lot of weight, because he did have a tent. His whatever other materials he was carrying with him, this could slow you down. So maybe the weight and the baggage that he had to carry from his campsite and such like that might have slowed him down. So that might be the reason why it took him so long to cover 15 miles. 15 miles, if it's like if you're in a life or death situation, 15 miles really isn't that much. I mean, like I said, you can do that in like at least 4, max 5 hours. 15 miles is on foot. You can do it.
That he just got in his tent and fell asleep very quickly. But several hours later, he woke up to the sound of somebody walking around his tent. And he knew it had to be this guy. He's still in the middle of nowhere. He's not even close to the parking lot yet. And so this guy is still following him. And so Matt sat up in his tent, he clutched his knife, and for hours and hours and hours, all night, this guy just walked around his campsite. And then around 4 or 5 in the morning, he scampered off. When the sun finally came up, Matt leapt out of his tent, packed up his stuff, and literally just began running in the direction of his car, hoping that maybe he could get there before needing to camp out one more night. And so all day as he moved, he's looking over his shoulder, knowing this guy is following him. At this point, it's not even a question. He's somewhere in the forest, but he could never see him. And unfortunately, as the sun was setting, he knew he was not going to be able to make it to his car. He was just too far away. And so at some
Hold on. Wait, so he didn't make it that day? Okay, so it's already 2 days. He's been running back toward his car. You couldn't cover 15 miles in 2 days, so now we're going on the third night. This man is about to sleep third night, and someone is tracking him. The guy following him, it sounds like he might have tracking skills. Like he either maybe prior military, could have been part of Sears, who knows, like some sort of survivalist, out in the woods. He knows how to track people, especially with like the crunching of like leaves and sticks, around the campsite that Matt was hearing. I mean, most trackers will try and pick the best place to put their feet to make the slightest noise. So the noise makes the littlest amount of noise, and that would explain like the leaves and the sticks being crushed around his campsite. And just watching him and tracking him. Yeah, he's dealing with a tracker. I mean, it could be crazy. I don't know. He could be a crazy guy. Maybe he just has, experience in how to track. So, oh boy.
Point when it got too dark to keep moving, he had to find a clearing and set up his tent again. And so once his tent was set up, he just climbed inside, grabbed his knife, and sat there, knowing this guy was somewhere out there. And so Matt climbed inside of his tent, he zipped it up behind him, he grabbed his knife, and he sat there, expecting to hear this guy come walking around. But after several hours, he didn't hear him. And Matt started to wonder, maybe this guy has left me alone, finally. Maybe he's not following me anymore. And so Matt, who was totally exhausted, laid down to go to sleep. And then, as he's laying there from somewhere out in the woods,
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
Matt immediately sat up. His heart began racing so fast that he actually was concerned he might have a heart attack. And he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to say, so he just sat there holding his knife. And then this guy began running past his campsite, making animal sounds. And he would stop periodically and moan and grunt, and he'd kick up leaves, and then he'd run past his campsite again, over and over and over again, until the sun finally came up and this guy scampered off back into the woods. Matt didn't waste any time. He leapt out of his tent, packed his stuff up, and ran all the way back to his car. When he finally got inside of his car, shut the door, and locked it, he cried tears of joy. He was so unbelievably relieved. And he peeled out of the parking lot. He got to a nearby hotel. He finally got cell phone reception, and he considered calling the police about this guy, but he thought, what am I going to tell them? He didn't commit a crime. He was just terrifying. And so he decided not to call the police. He finally flew back to New York, and he just had to accept that there was some strange guy out in the wilderness of Washington state who was able to hunt him over 3 days and 30 miles in rugged terrain without the use of a flashlight, without any gear, and all he ever said to Matt was,
"Do you know how to get to Bell's Canyon?"
So that's going to do it, guys. If you found the secret in today's episode, let us know in the comments what it is and where you found it. So give us the timestamp. And if you're the first to do that, we will pin you at the top of the comments section.
Wow.
If you enjoyed today's video and you haven't done this already, please kidnap the like button, tie them up, and then forcibly brush their teeth, and then make them drink orange juice. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly 3 or 4 video uploads. If you want to get in touch with me, you can direct message me on Instagram or on Twitter. My username is the same. It's JohnBallin416. I also have a ton of content over on TikTok where my username is Mr. Ballin. I also have a second YouTube channel called Mr. Ballin Shorts where I post random short videos and lost episodes. If you have a story suggestion, please submit it to our subreddit just called Mr. Ballin. It's linked in the description below. So whether I see you on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, or some combination, just know that I really appreciate your support, and until next time, that's going to do it. See ya.
Hey, that was pretty good. I like that. That was awesome. Mr. Ballin, as always, dropping the heat, Good YouTuber right there. Good stories. Like I said, 90% of his videos are based on real events. They're not fake. So, yeah, and that was really interesting. Okay, let's go. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me for another Boss Reactions. We got another one done. I'm going to try and bring one maybe tomorrow or the day after. I might do another video. Yeah, Mr. Ballin dropped heat as usual. We also had a Nuke's Top 5, another good one. Good guy, YouTuber. Brings really awesome YouTube videos. Yeah, definitely. You guys like it? Definitely like, subscribe to the channel. Boss Reactions. Also, if you want to send any of that donation energy, send it to my boy right here. You already know. Let me pick him up real quick. Let me pick him up for you. Hold on. My boy Son Goku right here. You just send that donation energy straight over to my boy Son Goku. He's trying to defeat Frieza. So that's he's trying to get 100,000 subscribers. So we're working toward that. Yeah. So definitely go over to the YouTube, like it, subscribe. You can hit us up on our Instagram as well. Like I said, also join our gaming channel. We have a gaming clan we run, Boss Gaming Network. It's bossgaming.net. You can go to that website, sign up, become a boss as well. And yeah, definitely. If you have any videos you want to send to me, have me react to, definitely send me the link. You can go to the About section of the YouTube channel Boss Reactions and use the contact information there to send links if you think that these are good videos and I can react to them for the most part. So yeah, definitely. And yeah, so and I'm gonna let everyone go now. Okay, thank you. And as always, boss up. All right.